This is KGW News at 11.
Thank you for joining us. We begin tonight with a date, June 12th. That's just over 2 weeks away, and it's the day Multnomah County could move into Phase 1. The county chair announced the date today. It's not a sure thing. You can tell by the tone of my voice. The county still needs to apply, the state still needs to approve it, and the county can't see a spike in cases or hospitalizations before then. But if all goes well, restaurants and bars, salons and gyms can reopen, and gatherings of fewer than 25 people will be allowed. Multnomah would be the last county in Oregon to move to Phase 1. The head of the Portland Business Alliance reiterated today what many people already know. The shutdown has been rough.
Businesses are closing. We're seeing it in real time. We're seeing the loss of some great institutions, some great businesses, things that people know and love and cherish: restaurants, dining facilities, hospitality. That's real. It's happening. That is a consequence of the choices we have made.
County leaders understand the frustration, but wanted to make it clear COVID-19 is still out in the community. So they want to make sure they're reopening safely. And I'm excited. I already made my haircut appointment, so fingers crossed. Contact tracers continue to be one of the key criteria for counties to apply to reopen. Those are the people who track down all close contacts of those who test positive for COVID-19. The goal is to get people to quarantine before they unknowingly spread the virus to someone else. Each county has a certain number of tracers they're supposed to have before reopening. Thousands have applied for the job. So why haven't counties hired enough people? Our Maggie Vespa found out.
In the age of dodging robocalls, a pandemic provides a big reason to pick up.
Answering the phone and answering the questions is extremely helpful for us.
Julie Albers is the public health director for Clackamas County, and that means she oversees the county's team of contact tracers, a team she's been scrambling to build since Oregon Governor Kate Brown earlier this month made it a requirement to reopen. Statewide, interest in the job spiked, and several counties, including Clackamas, have started directing the wave of resumes to this interest form on the Oregon Health Authority's website. According to the state, nearly 4,000 people have filled it out.
Because I've been overwhelmed with applications, but I haven't counted them. They all go in a file folder.
Albers puts it that way, not because she's not grateful that people want to help and not because she doesn't understand that people need work. She gets those things. She puts it that way because she says the work of a contact tracer, whose pay starts at $24 an hour, is highly specialized. In fact, on their website, Clackamas County has a job listing saying they're looking for medical professionals with experience in epidemiology, skills in interviewing and customer service. And in particular, they want to hire people who are bilingual or have experience communicating with people in vulnerable populations. That sounds like a unicorn. Like how many people that fit all those criteria are out there?
Let me know when you find them.
She's only half joking. On Tuesday, Clackamas County had 24 people working various shifts to fill 17 full-time contact tracing jobs. 17 out of the 63 Governor Brown originally said they had to have on board. It's a tactic Oregon's most populous counties are leaning on with the governor's permission. According to the Portland Tribune, Clackamas, Washington, and Multnomah County chairs worked out a deal with the governor's office earlier this month. Basically, the original amounts of contact tracers assigned to those bigger counties were worst case scenario numbers. It's the number they would need to have if their coronavirus cases spiked. So because the work is so specialized, because training takes time and money, and because right now there aren't enough cases to warrant dozens and dozens of contact tracers, counties are filling the jobs slowly while submitting plans as to how they would beef up ranks if need be. Those plans need to show that counties could follow up on 95% of new cases within 24 hours of those cases being reported. For Clackamas County, that plan leans heavily on
a relationship with a local nursing school. So we're taking their student nurses as well as some of their graduate nurses to be able to fill those roles. We're moving some other internal county folks into public health.
We also talked today to someone who's already doing contact tracing work. He says the hardest part about it is getting people to both answer their phones and trust you enough to give personal information. Tonight, we're hearing from the CEO of the Vancouver frozen food plant at the center of a major COVID-19 outbreak. The company just released new numbers that show 85 people connected to the plant got sick with the coronavirus. Catherine Cook has more on how the company and the county are responding.
This has been a scramble for everybody.
Firestone Pacific Foods CEO Josh Heinerfeld speaking publicly for the first time since the company's COVID-19 outbreak. Since May 17th, 85 cases have been linked to the fruit processing plant. 70 people infected are employees. 15 others are close contacts.
My priority as CEO is to take care of my staff and their families and the community, and I want to make sure that you understand that's been my priority through this.
Over the weekend, the Vancouver Clinic Ridgefield office closed to test as many employees as possible. So far, 87 have tested negative. Of the 70 who tested positive, Heinerfeld says 21 of them did not show symptoms. On March 20th, Heinerfeld said the company started pre-shift health screenings for staff. He says only one person ever presented with a low-grade fever. In April, staff were instructed to start wearing masks. But looking back, Heinerfeld says the company should have done more to protect employees.
We were struggling with social distancing. And I say this with humility. It was tough for us to enforce social distancing. And what we realized that when people went on break, we really didn't have adequate space in our break room for staff to be 6 feet apart.
To address that, Heinerfeld set up a canopy outside the break room with tables and chairs. Firestone got help from an industrial hygienist to create a 50-point plan to make the workplace safer. The company's goal was to restart production by the end of this week, but now they're waiting for the county's approval. County health officials say they'll be testing more household contacts of Firestone employees, which could reveal more cases. The outbreak halted Clark County's application for Phase 2 reentry, which would in part allow salons and restaurants to open. The county health officer says he's still pushing for the state to approve it.
I'm hoping that our response to this outbreak, as well as the fact that we're bringing in these additional, case investigators and contact notifiers, I'd say, we can call them contact tracers, that we will demonstrate that we have the ability to move to Phase 2.
Heinerfeld says he wants what's best to preserve lives and livelihoods.
I don't know what a lot of our staff would be able to do in this economy if they didn't have this job. So our priority is to get them back and make them feel safe.
In Vancouver, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Governor Inslee gave an update on reopening Washington today. He announced the easing of restrictions on religious services. For counties in Phase 2, like Cowlitz, Skamania, and Wahkiakum counties, they can start holding indoor services. The governor is limiting services at 25% capacity or with fewer than 50 people. People must wear face coverings and practice social distancing. For counties like Clark and Klickitat that are still in Phase 1, the governor is allowing outdoor religious services with up to 100 people. There's also a mask and social distance requirement. We've learned Oregon education officials expect to have students back in the classroom in person by the fall. Things are still subject to change, but they hope to have a plan out by early June. Oregon Department of Education Director Colt Gill told the Malheur Enterprise newspaper he expects school buildings to open in most cases. He says some schools may have to continue distance learning if infection levels remain high in their communities. And schools that do open may need to do a blend of in-class and distance learning because of staff shortages and the need for smaller class sizes. Right now, the big challenges for schools are figuring out staffing and social distancing on school buses. In a developing story tonight, this is not what a Portland man needed. He was out delivering pizza when someone took off with his car.
The coronavirus hit. We both lost our jobs, and we've been having little problems with the unemployment. Neither one of us have gotten any unemployment, so I decided to go ahead and take a job at Domino's to try to get a little money rolling in.
Well, now he's stuck without a delivery vehicle after what happened Monday, which was caught on a neighbor's surveillance camera. So maddening. You can see him get out of the Nissan Xterra at Northeast Schuyler and 7th Avenue. He admits he made a big mistake leaving the keys in the car, but he knew the delivery would be quick. It took less than a minute. for someone to jump into his SUV and take off. Patrick is working with police and hoping the surveillance video, which may have caught the suspect walking by, can help solve the case. We hope so too, Patrick.